Good morning, YouTube. Today's Bible verse comes from Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is holy, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. That is today's Bible verse. I encourage you to read the entire book of Philippians. It's only 4 chapters. The reason why I encourage you is because last night when I woke up at about 2 o'clock in the morning to see what today's Bible verse was going to be, I read this portion of chapter 4, verse 8. And I said, okay, I got to get some more. This portion of the chapter is called Exhortations. This was Paul's letter to the Philippians. And let me tell you something. When I read this entire book, it's just 4 chapters. It took me about maybe 10, 15 minutes to read the entire thing. Let me tell you something. My spirit was quickened when I read this entire book last night. Now I've read portions of it and you know, just to read it, not for, I don't want to say I didn't read it for understanding, but I just read through it. But when I read it last night, something changed inside of me. It was as if Paul was speaking directly to me through his letter to the Philippians. And I just felt so much better. I felt personally like I knew Paul last night. And just, I felt good. You know, when you know somebody that's a good person, and I'm happy I came to meet this person. I'm happy that I know this person because I know that they're a good person. You know, we in the urban community say good people. They're good people. When I read this chapter last night, I felt like I knew Paul. And when I got to this portion of chapter 4, verse 8, finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. What is Paul saying? Paul understood the influence of one's thoughts on one's life. What people allow to occupy their minds will sooner or later determine their speech and action. So Paul was telling the Philippians, hey, I understand how people interact with one another. And because you are walking this walk, I want your actions to reflect your thoughts. So therefore, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Then if we read verse 9, it says, whatever you have learned or received or heard from me or seen in me, put into practice, and the God of peace will be with you. Paul says, whatever you learned from me by our interaction, put into practice, and the God of peace will be with you. Not merely a psychological state of mind, but an inner tranquility based on peace with God. The peace state of those whose sins are forgiven. The opposite of anxiety, it is the tranquility that comes when believers commit all their cares to God in prayer and worry about them no more. It is that peace that transcends all understandings. That is what Paul is saying. Paul is saying, hey, if you seen anything in me, do it, because you're going to get that type of peace that transcends all other understandings. Paul said in Philippians that I become content whether hungry or full. I'm content. Paul's faith was so unbreakable. Paul had this unbreakable faith that I felt last night that he gave a piece of that to me, because when I read this chapter, that's why I encourage you to read the entire chapter. I felt I was receiving what Paul said right here in chapter 4, verse 9. Whatever you have learned or received or heard from me or seen in me, put it into practice, and the God of peace will be with you. I felt that last night. Like I say, my spirit was quickened. I felt the glory last night reading this book. And as I close, putting today's Bible verse into action, living application of today's Bible verse. A lot of times we ask God for certain blessings or certain things to happen in our lives. But when you just sit back and look at the little stuff, I'm not talking about, the cars we drive or the homes that we have or the jobs that we have. I'm talking about just to be able to walk, to be able to talk, to be able to know your own name. When we just look at the little stuff, if we can have that same type of contentment, to be content like Paul said, I'm good either way. I'm good in this cell and these chains. I'm good if I'm hungry. I'm good if I'm full. I'm good either way, because I know what God can do. And as we put today's Bible verse into action, Paul said, I want to control your actions by your thinking. I want you to control your actions by your thinking. So I want you to think about whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable. If anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. I want you to think about these things, because out of them flows your actions, what you do on a daily basis, how you talk to people, how you treat people, how you act, how you respond to certain situations. So on today, think about these things. Whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable. If anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. That is today's Bible verse. Remember, you have the power to make it a great day.